Zach Peterson, the host of Stop It, the podcast that you're listening to right now. Stop It, Zach Peterson, host. With me today is my friend. I'm trying to make the intro as bad as possible every single time. Yeah, I got to make it worse. All right, welcome to Stop It. Stop listening and go do something else. With me today for the first time is my friend, my old friend in old comedy, is Kevin Casey White. How you doing, bud?
Hello. Yeah, I'm like a specter from your past.
That's right.
Although I have been name dropped on the pod before.
Yeah, well, we had old Kevin O'Brien on the pod.
When I pissed off that magician in San Francisco.
That's right. That's right. What episode was that on? I forget. I think it was the Craig episode. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I had to throw out half the bucket because all of them were magician related. You know, because we already covered that.
Yeah.
Well, tell people who you are and why they should give a crap.
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. You know,
existential.
Why should anyone give a crap? We're just dust on a rock flying through space, buddy.
Yeah.
But if you have not taken an edible and you're not having a panic attack right now, after me saying that, I'll let you know I'm a stand-up comedian. I live in New York City. You and I cut our teeth doing comedy in Chicago.
That's right.
We used to run the wildly popular Arguments and Grievances show and podcast.
Yeah.
Currently, newest with me and with you, we're both on the Warped Tour this summer. Very cool, right. Very fun. Mm-hmm. And personally, I have a podcast myself called Close Calls. It's about near-death experiences. It's very fun. We tell stories. I always tell people it's like true crime adjacent.
Yeah.
Where it's like a true story, but since everybody lives at the end, we feel totally free to make fun of everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? This fucking idiot went hiking in the desert alone. You know, it's like a lot of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And also, I have a stand-up comedy special on 800 Pound Gorilla called Harangue, which recently just won Best Stand-Up Special at the Comedy Film Fest, which I'm very proud of.
Hey,
so
that's
check
awesome.
that out.
That's really cool. Congrats. I didn't know about that.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I saw you this weekend. You didn't tell me.
I just posted about it like yesterday. Literally, they sent me a thing in the mail, a little plaque and yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, Warped Tour is good this weekend. Stoked for next month.
I feel like, man, it was so funny. So we're like working. I was listening. We're like working this merch tent, so we're going in shifts. And I hope you don't mind me saying, I feel like your audience knows you pretty well. You got a hold of some edibles, and I came back, and you were just staring off into space, not talking to anybody, wearing sunglasses, and just like, all right, a little quiet time for old Zeeps. And just, there's a Bowling for Soup acoustic set happening next door that is making me want to shove pencils in my ears. And I think you put in earbuds. I think you just started listening to like doom metal just to like get because I love Warped Tour. I used to go to Warped Tour every year in high school. But how do I put it? You know, I'm happy to be there. There are definitely some acts I could do without, and being right next to one or two of the stages that was focusing on acts I don't want to hear, you know, really painted. Or I was just feeling old. I think I felt the oldest I've ever felt.
Yeah,
at Warped Tour.
I get overstimulated. I'm like a dog, you know. Like I was overstimulated. I had to be put in my kennel for a little bit.
Yeah, you did piss and shit all over.
Yeah, people hate that, but you know, it's whatever. They gave me the wrong food.
Yeah,
so
somebody slammed a door too loud and you ran under the couch. And
that is essentially my personality for the most part.
Yeah, dude, and honestly, that's my bad for shooting off all those fireworks and freaking you out.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was times where I had to take a timeout, and I was actually listening to noises of fans, like fan noises,
like white noise.
Yeah. So I could so I could have because that's the closest thing to silence. Because you can't put on silence. There's nothing there's noise cancellation, but that only does so much when there's 3 giant rock bands going on, and then an acoustic show right next to you. So I just something to sort of like get my head clear so I could think for a second.
I can't tell if that's a joke or not. Did you actually listen to White Noise?
Yeah.
Great. Good thinking.
Yeah, well, I like to party.
Someone gets a little stymied. And
That's
good
right.
for you for having coping mechanisms and knowing how to handle it.
Yeah, well, it's only taken 43 years.
Yeah.
All right. First question.
Oh, okay. We're doing
Yeah,
it.
we're going. Is going to a hookah bar a good reason to break up with someone?
Okay, yeah, for sure. Next question.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're right.
No, wait. So I there's this comic here in New York. His name's Raj Suresh. He actually you might know him. He puts on that comedy festival in Bentonville, Big Diamond. He's one of the producers of that.
I've worked with him before, yeah.
Nice
He booked
guy,
me to-
but he loves hookah bars. And every
Okay.
time I get a text about like meeting him somewhere, it's always a hookah bar. And I always have to come up with new, interesting excuses as to why I can't make it. When in reality, I'm free. I just don't want to go to a fucking hookah bar.
Right, right.
No offense, Raj, he'll never hear this, but I just can't think of a worse way to spend my time than being around bubble gum and strawberry flavored smoke. And I don't drink anymore, but I want people around me drinking. It's just a weird, like a lot of hookah bars don't have bars. It's like just hookah.
Right.
Or it's like BYOB or something. And there are also, I don't know, every hookah bar I've been to is like torn carpet, ratty kind of. It's like they never even feel like a nice place to be.
They're all dive hookah bars.
They're all dive hookah bars, yeah. And you would think if somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to open up a hookah bar," my mind has images of some sort of classy establishment, and it never is.
Right. A lot of glass, a lot of frosted glass.
Exactly. And it's not like I need a classy establishment. I just think it would make it more tolerable, you know? But yeah, no, it's, and so assuming, I mean, you asked me that question, I'm assuming my partner in this scenario is like, you know, it's Thursday night. You know what that means? Hookah bar. I'm going to maybe make it 3 weeks. And then you're cut. You're cut.
What type of person, and if you are this type of person, stop it, nation.
Stop it, nation.
I've never said that before, and I'm going to keep saying it because I hate it. If you're a hookah bar person, let me know why you would go. But also, what type of person goes to a hookah bar?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is the stereotypical hookah bar individual?
Oh, I picture. Okay, so it's gonna be Raj. You know, Middle Eastern makes sense. It's his culture, but you also get a lot of just fucking white guys that wear affliction, and it's just like a bad cross section. You know what I mean?
I wonder why that is.
And that's why I want to avoid it.
Yeah. What of the hookah?
What of the hookah?
What of the hookah attracts like those folks, or attracts anyone for that matter? You know, like I can't understand like, ooh, I want to smoke a cigarette with 4 of my friends.
Yeah.
You know, I want to smoke the same cigarette with 4 of my friends, but not have it be as cool as a cigarette.
So I think culturally, it's not this, and I could be way off. I feel like the vibe is not dissimilar to when British people have tea. It's an excuse to like have a timeout, have a conversation, and lay around. But I don't know. I just think there's better ways to do it than a dingy, smoke-filled room. That ain't me. That ain't me, dog.
Gotcha. All right, stop it. We're moving on to the next one. See, like that's the tagline of the podcast. What a branding genius I've become.
What a fucking incredible, a real captain of industry.
Yeah. What would you consider success?
Oh, that's a good question. So, you know, when I started doing comedy, because, you know, you don't know anything about the biz.
Right.
We've been through it. We're old dogs at this point. You know?
I don't know if I've been through. I've been around it. That's for sure. I never got inside to go the other side.
Oh, Hollyweird and back. But you know, when you start, you think like, I'll do this for a couple years. I'll probably be a wacky neighbor on a sitcom or something after that. And then the sky's the limit, and people are going to love what I have to say, completely disregarding all the other people around you that have been slugging away. You know, wow, but I'm special. I started last week. Every idea I have is good. And then after years of doing, and this relates to any sort of creative or competitive field, after years of doing that, then you start kind of realizing, oh, so-and-so got a thing I wanted. I don't think so-and-so is as good as this as me. Why did they get it, not me? That's where the bitterness starts to come in. And then some people let that really spoil them, and they eventually burn out. I took a break. Accidentally, I took a break. Moved to New York. Hit a little depression. Stopped performing. Got back into it, and I realized I don't want that bitterness around. And so I had to redefine success for me. And I remember in that moment just being like, well, I have a thing I love, and I'm not embarrassing myself when I do it. So just having a hobby is pretty nice. And it allowed me to be a fan of comedy again, because it let me kind of just approach it from hey, any success I get from this is just icing on the cake. Right. I think having the respect of your peers is a good baseline. Just getting to the point where you're good, and then just try to enjoy it, and just try to enjoy being good. And if you make some money, great. If you get a little notoriety, great. But I know everyone that's ever done, I don't know, let's say your goal was to do Conan or The Tonight Show or something. After you get that, you just set a new goalpost. And it's that never fills up your cup. It's impossible. It's always moving, So what's helped me is just having a real low bar.
Success is as far as you want to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to people that have had those big things happen to them, and they go, "Yeah, it didn't mean anything. Didn't move the needle at all."
Yeah.
So I got to do more stuff. And it's nothing's ever enough. When you think about when will we? Where's that edge that we have to get over for everything to be perfect and what we want? It's it doesn't exist. Yeah.
So by my definition, I'm already successful, and now we just get to enjoy it. It's about gratitude.
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy to see people doing things, go, oh crap, I want to do that. It's a lot harder to see what you're doing consistently on a daily basis, being like, this rules.
Oh, I know.
This is great.
Especially the day to day, because it's you're something like this. It's not like you're like a I can't think of the word. They
magician.
No, they dig up dinosaur bones. What's the
archaeologist?
You're like an archaeologist, and you're slowly dusting away the bones. You know what I mean? People think you're coming in with dynamite and making a splash, but in reality, day to day, you're just moving a little bit more dust.
Right.
And it's really hard to see what you get. So you need to take a moment to pause and look back and go, oh, yeah, you know what? When I started, I would have been really proud of this.
Yeah. I get that. I think that, it's just, I mean, I look back on probably 5-6 years ago, and I was like, that's when I was I was at my top, and now I don't know how to achieve that anymore, and then I'm doing the same things, which is a double-edged sword, where it's that wasn't my top, but at the same time, I am doing the same things. Hopefully, I do different things, but I mean, do we
need to rush to the next question? Can we sit on this for a sec? Because I have so much to say.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, There's no rules, baby.
So about the gratitude thing, right? I remember when we lived in Chicago, I was dating this girl, and I was really in a slump about what everybody else was doing, and I wasn't. And she was kind of just not having it. And she was just like, hey, let me ask you something. Are you proud of anything you've done? And I'd never crossed my mind to be proud of myself. It never once entered my mind that you can actually sit for a second and go, hey, pat on the back, I did a good job. And that just changed my perspective. And that's where that goalpost kind of just okay, I get to define what success is. And that kind of changed a lot for me. And then the other thing was, like I said, I took a break accidentally moving to New York, right? So when I was getting back into it, I remember feeling for a long time just oh man, I'm not as strong as I was. I'm not as good as I'm doing the old stuff because I haven't written new stuff yet, and blah blah blah. And you need to son of your confidence. But I made a decision, right? I got to get back into fighting shape, right? So and I remember kind of making that decision that fuck, dude, I'm choosing to get back to where I was. I don't know. It's I got to set like I feel like I'm better. I feel like stronger than I've ever been as a performer and as a writer and everything. It took me a long time to get there, but I remember to like I had to stop sizing myself up and think about it more like oh man, I don't know, kind of like when like a band breaks up and then the solo act. And then the solo act, you know, who's a successful person who had a like Sting? Probably not a great example.
Sting, that's a great pull. Yeah, that's what.
But
that's,
you know what I mean? I'm sure for a while he was like, this might not be as big as the Police, but he, you know, you got to be like, well, maybe what I have to say and what I'm writing now has nothing to do with that old version of myself. Like I wrote, you know, like you compare to yourself in your 20s, fuck yourself in your 20s, dude. Your 20s was an idiot,
right?
You know.
Yeah. Well, I think sort of with the same token of what you said is that instead of talking about, you know, what comes out of it and you know, what I can achieve or whatever, it's more. I've been focusing on output. You know, like, can I make stuff? Can I create something new? And then if it does well, good. If not, whatever. But if I just make something, I'll be happy. And that's made a big difference.
Yeah, I get that. For me, I similar thing. I try to think about like how honest is this? Because there was a time when it was like, let's just get laughs. You just got to get laughs, and your set becomes a collection of things you've picked up along the way that just get laughs. And now I'm like, well, how could I get laughs but also not feel like I'm playing to the cheap seats? You know?
Gotcha.
And that helps me a lot because it makes me feel like more of an artist. It lets me feel a little more, less like a guy who's just slugging away like a guy, you know, I feel like I can have something to say. And that's been really good for me, I think. Because me in my 20s definitely, I was too drunk to do that, to have any sort of sincerity. And ironic detachment, you know, was what fueled me. So
sometimes I think about what would have happened if I got the sort of the psychiatric help and the sobriety of my current stage in my mid-20s, early 30s, just at some point when I had the opportunity, you know, being in Chicago or LA and like facing all those challenges that, you know, sometimes I am not thrilled with how I handled them because of all those things, how that would have shifted those situations. You know, if I was more grounded like I am now, instead of, you know, 7 beers deep, you know, how would I have approached these industry people I'm supposed to be hanging out with at festivals instead of just getting drunk? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I know. I was some people understand that it's a business right away, and I didn't. The advice you always heard on podcasts and interviews was always, just be as funny as you can. Don't worry about anything else. Turns out there's a lot more shit to worry about.
It really is.
That's terrible advice.
Yeah.
Be aware that this is a job and show up like it's a job.
Yeah, that's true. All right, stop it. Moving on. Self-reflection of careers for comedy. We never do that.
That's
That's like
now, hey, everyone listening, you can wake up. We're done with that. We're gonna welcome back.
That's just a constant loop in my head, and you know every therapist has heard of that too much.
I know.
On a scale of 1 to 100, how weird are you?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's tough. I think everybody's weird. I think the people that try to be the least weird are maybe the most weird. And I don't mean weird in a fun way. I mean weird in a when they're gonna snap and do something bad kind of way. It is right. It the act. We were actually talking about this at Warped Tour a little bit because we were talking about what was it? We were talking about like doing mushrooms or something, and I was I'd mentioned how like the most buttoned up people are always the ones who are the horrific offenders because they're just like, don't be weird, you know, or like someone in the closet who's like a devout Christian, don't be gay, and it's like you're like running amok on weekends, you know, but instead of just living your. So how weird am I? Damn, I
Like
really want to believe.
I think you're talking about the Jared from Subway effect.
Yeah, dude.
Where like the most button-up, boring dude in the world is actually the largest monster.
Yes, dude.
Know?
Absolutely.
A much smaller monster after he got in the Subway, but a monster nonetheless.
Man, how weird am I? I don't know. I really. Can you define weird for me? Maybe it'll help me.
I don't know if I can. I think that's against the rules.
I don't. I'll put my. I don't know. I gotta refuse to answer this question. I don't think calling. I think it's dangerous. I know this seems like
podcast is dangerous. Yeah,
I know this seems like I'm not playing the game, but I am such a believer in everybody being the same.
Right.
You know that like as much as people politically or even like across gender and whatever else, it's like as much as people want to try to be divisive and be like men are like this and women are like this and Republicans are like this and blah blah blah, it's like I think we're all just trying to do our fucking best and live through life, and it's really hard to see people as weird with that scope.
Sure.
You know? That being said, I live in New York and there's some real fucking freaks here, so
So how would you define weird?
I guess if I were to, I think it's weird when people are like when people like wanna. I don't want to offend anyone, right?
Sure.
But I don't know why anybody wants a kid. I don't know anybody wants to. I don't know why anybody wants to live in the suburbs. I don't know why anybody wants to. Like when people, when people are like, and I don't see this much, but I hear about that. When people are like, and this is unfortunately, I guess this is a right-leaning thing. But people are like, why would you travel? Why? We got everything we need right here in Columbus, Ohio. Why would you want to go to Europe?
When people don't want to experience new things.
So I guess I can define weird as being closed-minded and being uninterested in being not curious. Right. In that case, I guess I'm not very weird.
Okay. Yeah. So odd to you, weird to you is sort of like the shut-off brain that's not going to take in any more stimuli.
My brain craves novelty constantly.
Get it.
You know?
I get it. Yeah. So that is odd. And on a scale of 1 to 10 with that, I mean, a scale of 1 to 100 with that, you're probably not very high on that.
No.
If that's what weird is.
When that's funny too, because I think like if you think, a weird guy, you're gonna think like a green haircut and a fucking bunch of and I'm like, those people are. I'm friends with so many people like that. They're not weird.
I understand.
They're right. Often, I agree with them on a lot of things. How can they be weird?
I mean, it's the need for self-expression, right? And that it culminates through sort of wild haircuts, tattoos, or whatever. Of like, I'm an individual, I'm myself, I'm very much this thing that no one else is. Like, I get that to a very core sense. Like, I understand that because that's exactly where a lot of who I am comes from. But the people that are like, I have to be this XYZ, I think that comes out of fear from, if I don't fit in, then something will happen, whatever that may be. And I've read a bunch of books on sociopathy, and a lot of the folks, those folks that are like, the people you're talking about, the button-down monsters, they're using those institutions and those sort of agreed upon tropes of what is normal to maneuver in the dark.
Yes.
So like, you can trust me because I fit I fit these parameters for what is normal, what is good, and what is right. And that's why you see so many, bad people in positions of authority in institutions.
Yeah, the BTK killer or whoever, pick your poison. They're always like some button-down, nerdy white guy with a clean haircut and glasses.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
they all look like Dilbert. Dilbert's a murderer.
Yeah. I can imagine someone at the FBI being like, "Does he look like Dilbert? Well, then he should be our guy."
I just thought of a great parallel, actually. Who's the so thinking about like hardcore shows and stuff? Who's the most hardcore guy? It's always the guy in a polo, or like you've seen SLC Punk. It's always what's the actor's name?
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel's character is the most hardcore one, and he's got like the perfect hair and the polo and the khakis. It's always that guy who has the most rage.
Yeah. All the dudes that I knew in hardcore that had the most rage were always the people most concerned with the length of the cuffs of their pants.
Yes, dude.
Just very buttoned down, very, yeah. That's true. Okay, moving on. Stop it. I think that was an interesting conversation that varied into the dark nature of man.
I can kill a good time. All right, that's kind of my thing lately, bumming everybody out.
This is this whole podcast. I mean, like, you ever like have comedians on and they get into a 20-minute conversation about the nature of forgiveness? Boy, what a good time. Oh, here's another one I'm sure we'll get in the weeds about. How masculine would you consider yourself?
Oh, funny. This has changed for me over the years. I would have thought not at all. I like to dance at a wedding. I like to, I don't know. I've always been very comfortable, not worrying about being like a fucking bro or whatever.
Right.
But my girlfriend's kind of pointed out, I can't even think of a specific thing, but like, if we've been out and there's, maybe this isn't even a good use of masculine, I don't know. If we've been out and there's been something where there's like, I don't know, she felt she was in danger or something, I am so quick to like push her aside and like jump in front and like, right. You know what I mean? Be like, I'm the man and fucking, I got it. I want to protect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You said, wait, is this a scale you said?
Oh, it's like, how would you consider yourself? So, I mean, within the question is how you define masculinity and whatever you define it as, where do you see yourself on that spectrum?
There was a time when I thought of what I would have thought, just kind of based on other people's opinions dumped into my head, that all masculinity is bad.
Yeah.
And toxic. And that's not true. Actually, it's very, it can, it can be bad and it can be weaponized, but on its own and of its nature, it serves a purpose, just like femininity. And I've been trying to, and I think, okay, here I go. I'm spinning off again. Here's where my brain's going. Sorry. You talk about, there's like the male loneliness epidemic and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of that is like these Andrew Tate fuckers exploiting disenfranchised white youth, Right. And a lot of that is because they're cashing in on, this. I bet you could probably finish the sentence for me, right? They're cashing in on these guys being told that by being a man and by being masculine by virtue, you are just bad as a zero sum. Like that's the starter. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's funny. If you had asked me about masculinity, like I said at one point, I would have said it's bad. And now I'm like, we actually need to be better about holding space for it because it's having strange, there's been a strange cause effect with trying to hamper it. And I think in one way that's good, and in another way it's been done poorly, and we need to even it out a little bit where it's like,
sure.
Hey, everything in moderation, gang. Let's all just be chill,
Yeah. No, I think that there's some really good things about, I think that the strength and sort of the, what's the word? The stoicism of masculinity can be really cool and really, used for good, and especially if you use that sort of that strength and resolve and grit and all those things that are associated with traditional masculinity for good things and to protect and help others. Fuck yeah, great. But one thing that we should really address is, our inability to be vulnerable or even interpret or listen to our own feelings, because I think that's where the big divide is on what is positive, what is negative. Is the controlling of others, which is I don't see as I don't think that's masculine or feminine or anything. I just think it's bad. And then there's the inability to process one's feelings. And someone has to be taught that, because as a dude, when we were raised, it's like, hey, you can't have feelings, and you can't, and if you do have them, that's bad. Shove them down, right? And that just causes a whole cadre of bad situations, and a lot of bad behavior. I saw a dude, like a fucking dude. I'm not a dude, but I'm flying out of DC for the from Warped Tour. There's a dude who couldn't get on the plane, and he threw his stuff down and started pouting. And it's like, hey, maybe you should learn to listen to your emotions and process them in a healthy way, because I think that's sort of a skill that we are taught not to have, actively not to have. And then when you're able to do that, I think that the other things that sort of come with it, the values that are associated with traditional masculinity, I think that you can be a force for good rather than the opposite when you're doing things out of fear and selfishness.
Yeah. It can't just be physical strength. It has to be emotional strength,
Exactly.
right? And it's funny. Yeah. I thought about this recently, because if you look at dads from the 90s sitcoms, they're always, he'd sit, pick your poison. Who's the dad from Family Matters? Doesn't matter. Sits down Urkel.
Carl Winslow
sits down Urkel, and hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's that's a father figure being shown, or even Leave It to Beaver. There have been examples of men being in touch with their feelings in media,
right?
And yet for some reason, in the real world, it was, it's hard. And I don't know why that disconnect is, or I think that there's something masculine about being a good father figure. I think there's something masculine about having emotional fortitude. That's good, But I think when people talk about toxic masculinity, it's what you said. It's shoving everything down and just be a fucking man and just fucking deal with it. And it's those guys. I think Bill Burr had an old joke about how those guys always die at 40 of a heart attack.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, you can fucking build a goddamn log cabin. You can also read and write poetry at the same time, and that's all the same. It's there's no right or wrong way to do it, but it's a matter of having that sort of that quiet strength. And if I was to define it, because I think it is different for everyone. Because if you spoke to my wife, she would tell you why, the things that she values in me that she sees as masculine, and I would have no idea. That was not we would not be on the same boat as that, or understand each other directly without more conversation. But yeah, so it is different for everyone.
I think something that's very masculine is roughhousing. Young boys want a roughhouse, and I think something that's important about being a man as you get older is recognizing that there is a size difference, typically, and to be mindful and respectful of that. We've all met a gentle giant, and it's because I think a lot of times those guys, when they're pretty young, accidentally play a little rough. They have a Of Mice and Men moment where they hug a rabbit to death. And they go, oh, okay, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, they're Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly.
No, I think you're right. It's about having that strength that we talked about, but then realizing the power of it.
Mm-hmm. And when you don't respect the power of it, you become a fucking asshole and start a men's rights podcast.
That's right.
And brag about it.
Yeah.
Because you feel small, because you were made to feel small as a kid. It's a whole thing. Go to therapy.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. See, that's another thing that we're not you're not supposed to deal with your feelings or go to therapy or ask for help or stuff like that, which is destructive. And one talks about strength, like, I'm a fucking badass. I'll fucking throw a truck.
Yeah. Quit throwing that truck.
Yeah.
We need that truck. Put that truck down.
Yeah, but people are afraid to just to talk about their feelings or face them, which I think is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Well, that'd be gay, Zach.
Well,
they can't.
Yeah, I know, but that's the kind of shit that makes dudes,
absolutely
die at 40.
It's an overcorrection.
All right, stop it. We need to get a fun one, man. This is okay. This is a good one. You ever seen Ghoulies?
Ghoulies?
You ever seen Ghoulies? You never seen Ghoulies?
I don't think so.
Oh,
what is Ghoulies?
It's a horror movie. It's like imagine like an R-rated Gremlins, but they come out of the toilet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Shit, Gremlins.
Well, they don't. I mean, they're not toilet based, but they're they just enjoy the toilet, I suppose.
Okay. And what's your question about Ghoulies? Just have I seen it?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of horror I haven't seen that I think I'm gonna get Shudder, and I think I'm just gonna dive in. Because last night, dude, I was on the couch and I was like, man, it was really fun watching bad movies in DC. I'm gonna try to find a bad movie, and famously not all the worst movies, but famously a lot of horror movies are bad. Let's go. And then I was like, oh, there was a time when I'll be honest, I was soft and I would scare easier, and I was like, I don't want to be scared. I don't want to watch anything, But now I'm a big, strong man, and I can watch a scary movie by myself.
Yeah, I know you can. I'm proud of you.
I remember I saw The Ring in theaters.
Yeah.
And I remember being, going in my bedroom, at night. I was in high school. I was probably a freshman or sophomore in high school. And I remember I'd watch TV in my bedroom. I turned it off, and the TV screen would just kind of glow afterwards. And I was convinced I'm gonna die. I'm a teenager, Zach. I was afraid of The Ring.
Well, I watched The Ring in my 20s, and it scared me as well.
It's a fucking scary movie, dude.
It is, especially first time you see it. Because this weekend we mentioned what we watched. We watched Geostorm.
Yeah.
And Moonfall.
Yeah.
Some legendarily stupid fucking movies.
So I watched Mr. Crockett last night. That's what it was. It's
on Hulu.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
I liked it. It was good.
It was all right. Yeah.
It didn't scare me. I know that.
If you like the dumb movies, Ghoulies is right up your alley.
So I'm looking this up right now. 1985, 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. And then watch Ghoulies 2, which I think is better. Because Ghoulies 1 doesn't make a lot of sense, but Ghoulies 2, they're in a carnival, so you know what's going on. Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College.
No way.
Yeah. That one's good. It completes the trilogy.
I did see Troll 2 in the theaters years ago, and it was fantastic, which I'm getting a similar vibe from.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
The straight-to-video horror movies of the 80s and 90s are... Yeah. I went and saw... at the Logan Theater in Chicago, I went and saw a midnight showing of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Fuck yeah, dude. I actually I love trauma stuff.
Yeah. Incredible movie. And something made it better watching it at Logan at midnight was that there's a good amount of people that just wanted to take a 2-hour nap inside.
Yeah.
And they just would wake up screaming. Made the movie very intense.
Is trauma still around?
I think so.
I'm not
entirely sure.
I'm going to give you a pitch, a career-changing pitch. I think this could be big for you. If you can get Trauma to produce your next special.
That would be wild.
How cool would that be?
That'd
and then
be very
you
cool.
do like Showtime at the Apollo, and you bomb. How the guy would come sweep you off, but the Toxic Avenger comes up and mops you off.
Yeah, with them. You know they're remaking it.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming out soon. It looks
cool.
weird.
Huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, hit up Lloyd Kaufman. I think that's the guy's name, right?
I don't know.
What a pull! I'm so proud of myself for remembering that. Hit up Lloyd Kaufman or Next of Kin and get that going, man. That's for you. That's a freebie.
Pretty damn old by now.
Yeah. Hold on, real quick. I got a storm brewing outside. Do you hear this? Let me shut this window.
I do.
One sec.
All right. This is me vamping.
Batten down the hatches.
Some of these are bleak, man. I want to get a fun one. Because, man, we've had a lot of conversations about stuff.
Okay. Bleak. We didn't.
Well, there was just one. I just
bleak
like
and
pulled one.
we'll make it funny.
Okay. Oh, I just pulled one, but okay.
Yeah, what do you got? I'll take anything.
This one is not bleak. What is the secret cleaning tip that you'd like everyone to know?
Mm-hmm. I worked in restaurants for years and years and years and years. And overnight, they're not scrubbing the coffee pots. They just throw some lemons and water in it overnight. And I do that at home. I'm not running this thing through the wash. Just throw some lemons and water. I mean,
Okay.
I'll maybe once every summer solstice. I don't know. Because people will here's the thing. People will leave a little bit of coffee in their thing, and then it gets like gunky, and then they'll just keep using it. Just give it a rinse, throw a lemon in, you'll be happier. You'll be happier not ingesting whatever. I feel like I can do better. I feel like there's so many more cleaning tips I have. There's a maybe not a cleaning tip, but like a quality of life tip. Mm-hmm. We all know as of recently that like nonstick coating and Teflon stuff is like bad. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. You got to get rid of your nonstick pans, right? Mm-hmm. But what you do is you get those the kind that they use in like commercial kitchens. Like they're all silver, the silver handle. I can Google it if you want. There's a name for it, but you know what I'm talking about. Whatever you're picturing is probably it.
Yeah, they're made of stainless steel.
Yeah, dude, those things can take a beating. You can scrub them. You can throw them in the dishwasher, which was like a big thing about non-stick. And I just use those and I beat them up. And I just do. I don't think about cleaning them with care like I used to. I just replace my pans with some real, we'll call them workhorses.
Yeah.
We
use bartender's friend on that if you get a bunch of gunk. And then that's done.
Ooh. Yeah, dude.
Seal wall. That's good. That's all you need.
Good call. Yeah.
Okay. If life had a pause button, when would you have pressed it?
Oh, dude. Okay. When I pause it, can I like wander around and like... What do you mean? Or is it more like mentally I'm feeling a moment and let's
say that the world is just remains the same, but maybe you don't in a certain year. Let's shoot for a year.
The world remains the same, but maybe you don't in a year. I don't know.
I mean, like what's a year that you would be like, I could live in that year.
Yeah.
I could see myself in that year for the rest of my life.
No, I get it. Damn. That's such a good question. I know I have such a bad memory with this stuff. All my years kind of blend together. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm going to think on it. Do you have an answer? Have you done this before?
I really haven't. No. I mean, like for me, I've had some good years.
Yeah.
It's hard because what I would probably say more recently than later, because I feel like I've sort of found the equilibrium for myself.
Yeah.
I'd probably say 2000. That year I came back to Chicago between LA was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the year before I left for LA was pretty good.
You know what was a great year for me, which is kind of like a controversial one? Dude, when the pandemic hit, I was having the best time.
Yeah.
And I know. I remember doing like outdoor shows, and comics were being like, oh, everything sucks and the world's on fire. And I'm like, the government's paying you to stay home. It's summer. I haven't ridden. I'm in like the best shape of my life because I'm riding a bike everywhere and I'm in bike protests and stuff. And like everybody was coming out to comedy shows because there wasn't much else to do. And I just remember, I often look back at that as like one of the best summers of my life.
That is cool.
Sorry if you lost anyone, but
Yeah.
I lost an uncle, all right, but selfishly, I had a good time.
I think it's easy to look at the pandemic and go, that wasn't so bad when, all I did was watch TV.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
like it was actually pretty cool.
It's funny. Yeah. I think coming out of it, people are like, "Oh, wait, we got to go back to work." Oh, wait a second. We actually got pretty used to the other thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, this last year has been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know, if my life, I mean, outside of the shitstorm of the world, you know, like of what's going on a global scale, like if that wasn't an issue, but in just terms of my personal life, I could do this year forever.
For sure. Yeah, man. I feel that. Do you hear that?
I do.
It's real, dude. It's coming down, so it's crazy.
You got a fucking geostorm.
All right, stop it. Hit me with another.
Okay, this is the last one. But make sure you plug your shit right now.
Again?
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
at the end of the podcast. That's what you usually do. You've done podcasts before.
Yeah, I was hanging. I
know.
do this all day. Okay. Kevin Casey White on all socials, kevincasey.white.com. We'll also link to all that. Also, you can find my special. It's called Harangue. But again, just look up Kevin Casey White and check out my podcast, Close Calls.
Yeah. Harangue. Do I get any credit for that? Because I called you the haranguetan back in the day.
I know. I didn't even think to bring this up. Thank you. You are the person who named it, kind of. I had never heard that word before. And we were outside of, what's that place with the brisket in Eagle Rock in California? That
it was like a oink pig.
It's like
it was something like
the Oinkster.
The Oinkster, that's right.
We were sitting outside the Oinkster, and one of the people on our crew, I think it was Andy Sell, he was like, I'm good, I'm not going to eat anything. And I was like, oh, you're not going to eat, dude? And I was like annoying. I was just like, oh, you think you're too good to eat the Oinkster, dude? Come on, dude, don't be a bitch, like whatever. And you go, stop haranguing him. And I was like, what is that word? And I looked it up, and I think if you go on Google and you look it up, it says to yell at someone in an aggressive and critical manner. To lecture someone at that's what it is. To lecture someone at length in an aggressive and critical manner. And I remember thinking, like, that's the funniest thing to call a comedy special.
Yeah, that's good.
What is comedy if not an hour-long harangue?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Good.
And by the way, I just want to, so thank you for that, Zach. Immediately became my favorite 50-cent word, but also it's 2 syllables, but I'll call it a 50-cent word. But also. Shockingly, I was not the only one who didn't know this word. So I'm constantly, hey, what do you want me to bring up? Oh, say I have a special. What's it called? It's called harangue. What? What? And then I'm always like, it means to like lecture. Harangue. So, dude, I've gotten harangue. I've gotten haranguetan a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people say haranguetan. I've gotten people straight up just be like, I'm not gonna say that. I mean, it's fine. Just say I have a special. It's cool.
Yeah.
Dude, sorry, one more thing. If you, I was in Denver a couple weeks ago, and I got heckled. This woman was like, "What is it? How do you spell it?" And she starts like trying to look it up on her phone. I'm like, I'm doing a show. HARANG. And if you go to my Instagram, I have a couple pinned posts, and one of them is the day it released. And I was like, thanks for tuning in or whatever. And the first comment, I think, is this woman being like, I found it. HARA. And it's the woman who was heckling me in Denver.
That's funny. That's nice that she let you know that her journey had ended.
Yeah, I'm really proud of her. Gold star.
I mean, as someone who has had specials called Midwestern Jokes for the Americas and a list of wet celebrities, people messing up specials names on stage is nothing new.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'll have let's talk about my special. And they were like, oh, what is it called? It's like, you don't need to. It's fine. I'll say it. Yeah.
I'm going to make the next one real easy, really, to get proof.
Fun joke time. Okay, the last and final question. What game show would you do the best on?
Oh, my God. Wow.
Given the opportunity.
Been real into game shows lately. Okay, I feel like I have a couple answers for this. I think I'm pretty good at Wheel of Fortune. I bought there's like a shitty $10 Wheel of Fortune game you can buy for PlayStation. Me and the girl play it all the time.
Right.
I don't know if you've played the 1% Club. That's what I've been into a lot.
I haven't.
Okay, so they have an app you can play along, and it's basically like you start with there's 100 people in the audience. And they go from 90% down to 1%. So this first question is like 90% of people got it right. 80% of people got it right. 70, 60, so on and so forth. And I fucking clean up on that. And they're all logic puzzles, by the way. They're not like trivia. They're not stuff you need to know.
Right,
but it's about like, how does your brain work? Can you think outside the box? It's all logic stuff, which I love. I comfortably clean up well into the 20 and 10%.
Hell yeah.
Consistently. So I feel good about that. And it's always like the last one that fucking gets me. Check out the 1% Club. The Floor. I've been watching The Floor a lot lately. I'm telling you, we watch game shows in this house.
Wow.
Okay. Do you know The Floor? It's so stupid.
No, I don't.
So you have a topic. Let's say, I don't know, food. And you square off with another person, and they flash photos of food up on screen, and you just have to be like pancakes, cake.
Yeah, I could identify food. Yeah,
it's like the dumbest. Like I remember before I got it, I was like, is this how debased we've gotten as a society where this is a game show? But now I'm like into it. Now I'm like fully like, ooh, a new episode's on. We gotta watch, and I'll yell at the TV. Me and the girl will just yell at the TV. Baking soda, whatever the fucking stapler.
Yeah,
I love it. Check that out.
Sounds great. Yeah. Why is it called The Floor?
Oh, because everybody's
on the floor.
So everybody's on a grid on the floor, and when you beat somebody in their topic, you take over their space, and you want to be the person with the most coverage on the floor. By the end, you want to take over the whole floor. So everybody has a topic assigned to their space, and that's how they. But the 1% Club, I think you would legitimately find interesting.
Okay, very cool. So, but the one that you do the best on, you think is Wheel of Fortune?
Damn. I mean, yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Okay.
I feel pretty. I don't know. I play Wordle every day. I do the crossword mini. Regularly and like the whole New York Times stuff. So I'm pretty primed for word games. Right. I would say 1%. If I could just crack that last 5 and 1%, I'd feel good. Okay. And The Floor, a fucking trained monkey could do. So
I would say that I would dominate on Hollywood Squares.
Yes, dude. Hollywood Squares is great.
Yeah. I mean, if Gilbert Godfrey was still around, there's no stopping me.
Oh, dude. You and Bruce Valanche.
Yeah. Yeah. The questions are so easy, you know, and then I don't trust any of the celebrities.
Yeah.
So I think I get this. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, my ego wants to say Jeopardy, but I know that's not true.
I know, dude. I love playing Jeopardy, but if I'm being honest, half the time I knew that. I was close. You know, I'm giving myself more credit than I should because you want to feel smart.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Colin Jost celebrity or like the Colin Jost Jeopardy one where it's like really dumbed down? Yeah, it's like I think there's like teams of 3 that can do. They really softball the questions.
How'd you do on Family Feud?
Oh man, I love Family Feud.
Would you do
dude, you're thinking of all these classic ones that I haven't watched in a minute. Family Feud, one of my favorite. Do you know Joyelle Johnson?
No.
Very funny comic. And she, okay, not to, God, I don't try not to bum anybody out, but we went to Springfield for DeFore Fest for when Kenny DeForest, R.I.P., passed away. They put on a festival. And we would stay up till like 4 a.m. watching Family Feud. And she is, I never noticed this. This is not, Joyelle is one of the funniest fucking, I love her so much, okay? Worth noting, she's a black woman. And she pointed out that it's always a black family versus a white family. And I never noticed that before.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's so great watching the show with her because she's like, fuck you, whitey, fucking whitey, the whole time, like 3 a.m. This her being like, this white piece of shit. Fuck it. Like angrily watching Family Feud.
Tensions of Family Feud, yeah.
Dude, it's so fun. It's so fun. I love Family Feud.
Well, dude, thank you so much for joining me, man. It sucks that we can only do one episode, but it's because it's always good to hang out with you. That's the end of the episode.
That's the end? That's how we're stopping it?
That's it. There's going to be a surf guitar that fades in here, and then
sweet.
before you know it, we'll be lost to the sands of time.
Oh, man. Well, hey, thank you, buddy, for having me on. And I'll see you next month at Warped Tour.